I wanted to take a few moments of your time this morning to discuss something that's been bugging me. And that is, I've been getting this in the mail, a bunch of these. These are an attack on our governor, Kevin Stitt. If you live in the state of Oklahoma, you will also have been receiving these. These are attack ads, and you've been seeing them on Fox and on Newsmax. And it discusses Kevin Stitt releasing prisoners, and this one particular person, Leon Pye, who apparently went on to commit a gruesome murder after the release from prison. Now, these attack ads, there are a couple of things involved here. First of all, the ads are by what they call dark money groups. Dark money groups are groups that can remain anonymous. And to the current count, I've counted three different ones. 3 dark money groups, okay? You've got the Sooner State Conservative Fund. Then you've got the Oklahoma Project. And then you've got yet another fund that is Conservative Voice of America, the Conservative Voice of America. Now, you'll notice something interesting about these groups. Most of them have the term conservative in them. Now, I've got a couple of articles relating to these groups dealing with this. And these are mostly articles from Oklahoma City radio stations and news outlets. And one of them says, attack ad intended for conservatives see misrepresented communications, and they claim that Governor Stitt is soft on crime. An attack ad airing on Fox News and Newsmax in Oklahoma targets Governor Stitt and paints him as soft on crime. The Conservative Voice of America spent almost $200,000 to run ads. Now, this is prior. This is before. Since then, they have now, this other group has, the Sooner State Leadership Fund, it says that they have $10 million to spend. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Can you believe this? In a gubernatorial race in which right now there, I believe, are only 3 conservative candidates, most of whom no one's ever heard of, but they're attacking the governor with $10 million. $10 million. $10 million to attack and these are supposed to be conservative groups attacking the gubernatorial candidate. And he is a Republican, a conservative Republican. I think you understand something shady is going on here. And I'll tell you where this dark money is coming from in a minute. So here's another group, calls itself a conservative organization. And the groups criticize Stitt on his commutations. This is what they're using to go after the Stitt, saying he's soft on crime. Now, anybody that has half a brain knows that the governor is not soft on crime. And they're trying to use certain statistics and play loose with the numbers, saying that per capita, we have a higher crime rate than New York City and California, both New York and California, per capita. Well, see, that is a tough one, because if you look at New York, okay, New York population-wise is a lot bigger than Oklahoma. And you're not just talking about New York City. See, if we look at New York City, let's take New York City, for example. Right there, just if we took New York City and then we took Oklahoma City and Tulsa, hands down, New York City wins. Just the one city in our 2 major cities wins. But then you've got Albany, the capital, Rochester, you name it, all these other large cities. If you take the whole population of New York State, you've got Long Island, you've got all of these other cities. Hands down, you know, with just taking metropolitan New York wins. So even the FBI and the head of the Oklahoma police states that these numbers don't hold up, okay? That these are bogus. They're playing loose with the numbers is what's going on. So I'm really kind of upset by this stuff, and here's what's going on. I'll tell you where I suspect most of this money is coming from. Two groups. Two groups are spending most of this money. One, the tribes. The tribes, because the governor sought to have them pay taxes on the casino money. As you know, there was a big fight between the governor and the tribes over the casino money. They're not paying the same amount of taxes as other states, Florida, say Missouri, other states that have gambling, that have allowed gambling, and the tribes. Our tribes are not paying the same amount of money, and they don't want to pay it. I don't blame them. I don't want to pay my taxes. But Joe Biden is... It's funny how you don't see the Democrats in Congress trying to raise taxes on tribal lands, on casinos, because they like their votes. So they don't want to mess with them, okay? There are a lot of money, deep pockets going into the Democrat coffers. They want those votes, so let's leave them alone. There's a lot of money on those tribal lands. Governor Stitt sought to do the right thing. To be fair, if you're making these millions, billions of dollars, and the regular citizens of the state of Oklahoma, you're driving on our roads, you're getting the benefit of our dams and our rivers that we're all having to take care of, then you should be paying more for taxes. You think everything that gets to your casinos, the roads that get to your casinos, the food, the transportation, everything that gets to the electricity, everything, it stops when it gets to the border of your casinos, your territory? No. But for some reason, the money, the tax, is supposed to stop when it comes out of there. So that's one. Number two, teachers unions. They do not like the governor. And what they've done, they've taken their sorry superintendent of education, who was a Republican. She was a Republican, who has now become a Democrat, who is probably the sorriest superintendent of education that we have ever seen in the state of Oklahoma, who is now running for governor, and she is who they want to be governor. I promise you, if this lady were ever to take over the state of Oklahoma, we are in trouble. We're in trouble. So this is what's going on. These are the two entities. There's probably a few others, but I promise you, these are the main two entities that want to take down Governor Kevin Stitt. And you, my friends, you, myself, my partner David, it's up to us to stop this. So what I want you to do, I want you to call your government, your representative, state, governor, the governor, start there, tell him you support him. Then I want you to call your state representative, your district people, and you tell them we support Governor Stitt. And you start getting these representatives to stand up for him. Now, let's get back to the representation or misrepresentations these people are making. The commutations that were made, the one in particular, this one right here, that everyone is getting in the mail, this was done by the parole board. The early release program that initiated all of this was voted in by the citizens of the state of Oklahoma. The governor merely signed a bill that was enacted by the citizens of Oklahoma. He's doing the will of the people. Now, these dirtbags, and I say that, and I actually want to apologize to dirtbags everywhere, because these people give dirtbags a bad name, are using this and trying to fool you, especially if you watch Fox and Newsmax, and you get this. There are people out there that won't dig beneath the fold and won't really look into this. I give credit to certain news agencies in the state that are smart enough and have enough reputation, or consider the reputation strongly enough to want to reveal the truth, okay? I hope more do, but it's up to you to begin to tell people, first of all, do your own research. Start looking up these things and get behind this governor. I don't agree with everything. I'm not supporting his nominee for the new Secretary of Education, for example, okay? Dave and I, we've discussed this on this program. We happen to support somebody else. We're not for everything that Governor Stitt wants to do. Nevertheless, we think he should remain as governor, mainly because the alternative is that bad. It's that bad, if not worse. We can't even begin to describe to you how bad the alternative would be to Governor Stitt. Frankly, I don't think he's doing that bad of a job, but the alternative would be bad. Okay? Imagine Frankenstein if he were missing parts. He's got bad parts, but missing those parts, that would be the Democrat version, okay? So anyway, I ask you to begin doing your own research and start speaking out, writing letters, write letters to the newspapers, editorials, making calls, speaking out. Do not let this go unspoken. Do not let this go uncontested. Do not just sit there, oh, it'll be okay, it'll be okay. Anybody that would try to tell you that Governor Stitt has not done a good job, particularly on this stuff, is lying to you, and they're trying to fool you, and the consequences will be severe, and they will be bad. That's my piece of information, my peace of mind for this week. Thank you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right then. Here we go.
Everything that I know says I gotta go solo, but I'm never gonna go there again. This is what it is, this is who I am, this is where I finally take my stand. I didn't wanna fall, but I don't have to crawl. I'm not the one with two dark hands, giving him the best of everything that's left of the life inside this man. I've been born again.
Hey, Dave, you know, I was thinking of getting a new song, but it's weird. Just as I'm thinking that this song may be worn out, this morning it sounds awfully good.
Yeah, I like the song.
It is a great song. I mean, you know, Michael Tate, one of my dear friends. Oh, excuse me. I don't know if you know, I switched mics. I used to be one and you two, and I made you, and so I muted you.
Well, you got your condenser,
I cough. Yeah, and I'm a condenser, and I'm coughing right into the.
And that mic will pick you up at Utica Square.
Probably, yeah. I can go back here. You see, you still hear me in a. Oh my goodness! Oh, there's certain things. Keep him away from the mic. Keep him away from the mic. No, oh my goodness.
You know, we are upgrading though. We're trying out some new camera equipment.
New camera?
And you know, second shot.
And this new mic, it's a few weeks old, but I'm starting to learn how to tweak it, make it better. I'm adjusting here and there. And
it means we
all
enjoy
we need
what we're
is a new me.
Yeah, there you go.
You got the old me.
There you go.
You're still there. You're still a spring chicken compared to me. I'm an old man. I'm an old man.
Yeah, I was looking up, you know, your monologue about, you know, murder rates and stuff like that. Yeah, they can play with statistics.
Oh, sure they can. It's ridiculous. Like, you know, remember the Oklahoma 49 out of 50, we can do better.
Yeah.
The education lobby can BS. You know, it's based on, I mean, they're taking raw numbers. Just, sure, we spend less, but our cost of living is also probably very low.
Yeah. You know, somebody very close to me who's serving as a consultant for a pretty big, well-known worldwide name said, they're looking at moving their factory to Pryor, to the industrial park. Now, I want to say this. Here's what I was talking about, statistics. You might be dead last in your economy, and then all of a sudden, you kick up a little bit and you move to 47th, right? But statistically, you might have the fastest growing economy by moving from 50th to 47th. That's how they can play with statistics. You know, it's easy to improve when you're dead last. When you're in top 5, you know, just treading water is quite a feat. Yeah. So be careful in campaign seasons about statistics.
Especially when it's people trying to take your job.
Yeah.
They're going to play fast and loose with the numbers, aren't they? Yeah, it's the skunks and the rascals, as they used to say. They come out, and you'll get to hear the monologue. I don't know if you're going to do it first or in the middle or the end, but I really get very, very angry when you get people that are supposed to be Republicans or conservatives, and they're basically lying, or not lying necessarily, but like you said, playing with numbers and hiding the truth.
Yeah. And
particularly hiding where the money's coming from.
Right.
So, or as the guy on Car 54 used to say, ooh. You remember that? Do you remember that show? Where you're probably too young.
I am. Plus,
you don't remember oh my goodness.
We only got NBC, and that's if you had a good antenna strapped to your chimney.
You only had one channel?
Oh yeah.
You didn't even have the 3?
No, I was outstate until I was in like 9th grade. Then we got cable.
They had a guy named
4 channels, Eddie. Cable was 4 channels.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, they had this guy Muldoon, and anytime he would get excited, he ooh. Anyway, now I forgot my thought. No, but no, we were talking about on my monologue. We're talking about Kevin Stitt, and you'll hear it later during this thing.
Yeah.
But it's just these people playing loose with these numbers and the money involved, and it's like the same with George Soros. Mm-hmm. And again, another ad. It's more nationally broadcast and important than the whole gubernatorial race in Oklahoma, but it's the whole thing again of the 25th. I'm sorry, the Convention of States.
Yeah.
Was it the 5th Amendment?
Well, no, I mean, it's Article 5.
Article 5. I'm sorry, Article 5. Yeah, Article 5. Yeah. So the Article 5 thing, it's starting to heat up again. And they're trying to fool conservatives into supporting this thing. And where's the money coming from? Who's really behind this? And between the people trying to fool us on the whole idea of Governor Stitt being soft on crime and not hard enough on criminals and that kind of stuff, which people who know Kevin Stitt, people who know Oklahoma politics, people who know what's really going on, you know it's total BS, okay? We know it's BS, particularly in relation to the alternative. Mm-hmm. The same people who really are in the know and really study this type of thing know or should know that Article 5, to overturn that the way things are, or to have a convention of states and to totally toss out the way things are now, just opens us up to some really dangerous things. We've had this, what was it, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, it's been a few weeks, but yeah, we've discussed it.
We've discussed it, and I think we need to discuss it again because, in my opinion, in my humble opinion...
Oh, very humble. He's the most humble man in the room.
The most humble man. The most humble.
If you don't believe it, just ask him.
Yeah, the most humble man that has ever lived. There's no one as... It sounds like Donald Trump. There's never been anyone as humble as me.
Yeah.
There never will be any. No, anyway, seriously. No, but the Convention of States, in my opinion, is a huge mistake. And if you get a chance, I know this is another group that I grew up hating in the 70s when I was a radical. the John Birch Society. Okay, the Birchers. I mean, that was just like evil. John Birchers were like the KKK when I was, you might as well have had them right side by side. And they're like, they have tried to make conservative Christian, right-wing conservative Christian, when the average person, not most conservative Republicans or God-fearing people, when you say right-wing conservative Christians, most of us don't think evil with horns or tail, bad people these days, but to probably, I'd say 30% of Americans have been conditioned to really think that when you hear right-wing conservative Christian, it's an evil person. That it's a Nazi. I mean,
that's what the legacy media wants you to believe.
Right. That word game thing that they've done, and I think we've talked about that when I was talking about Kingdom of the Cults. Remember how they've mislabeled and they've changed definition of terms and everything like this. If you haven't, go back and listen to a couple of series of weeks ago where I talked about in the book of the Kingdom of the Cults by Walter Martin, what cults will do, they'll take and redefine terms. So when you say salvation, you talk about sin, you talk about salvation, forgiveness and heaven and a savior. It means something totally different. That's why you can't talk to a cultist, someone in a cult. You can't speak your typical Christian jargon, because when they hear it, it's through a filter that they've been given through the cult leaders. And that's kind of what the Democrat Party has done. And of late, the main thing they've done, if you've ever watched, the word democracy. January 6th was an attack on our democracy. And they're just democracy. Our democracy is under attack. Our democracy is under threat. They're threatening our democracy. They're tearing down our democracy. They're doing this to what they're trying to push on us is the furthest from democracy that anybody has ever seen. They wouldn't know democracy if it bit them on the butt. They just don't. So what they've done, they're redefining democracy. To them, democracy is what they want it to be, and that is you do what we say. Justin Trudeau is even the one. Justin Trudeau, who declared martial law illegally in his country with the backing of his government, his police state, and his military, is saying, I'm doing this in the name of democracy. And so that's what's going on. And so this convention of states is not what it sounds like. Or let's put it this way. It is what it sounds like, but what they're trying to do will undo what the Founding Fathers intended to do.
Well, it can. I'm Eddie, I have a slight distinction for you. I think it's a risky thing. Okay, so strategically, tactically, is it the right thing to do? I think right now the negatives outweigh the positives.
I agree.
But Article 5 is part of our original Constitution and is there for a reason. Needs to stay in there as a viable option at the right time. And I don't think it's as dangerous as you may think it is. But I also don't think that it brings the outcomes necessarily, even if it is the most successful, because we're ignoring this Constitution. What makes you think they're going to honor the next version of this Constitution?
Well, no. But the problem, all we really need to do, Dave, all we really need to do is bring them back to honoring this Constitution.
Exactly. Right. That's really what we need.
That's what we need to do. So we don't need an Article 5.
Right. Now, was it John Adams says, this Constitution works for a moral people.
Right.
And it's unsuitable for any other.
Bingo.
So what do we got to deal with? We got to deal with the culture.
Right.
We got to deal with society. And this is where faith, this is where values, this is where patriotism, the things that we believe in. I don't think democracy is not our entity. It is a process of working our republic. We are not a democracy, we are a republic.
Right.
Okay? And it's the Democrats that keep saying democracy, the Republicans keep saying republic. It's all in that branding.
No, that is very, very true. That people don't understand the difference in we're a in a sense we're a democratic republic.
Yeah.
But people don't understand really the definition of either one of those words sufficiently, and if they did, it would help a lot. Yeah. But to get to the point, right? But we don't need a convention of states to reestablish what the nation was founded on. What we need to do is get back to what this nation was founded on. I mean, really, that's the real, and even, you know, Mark Levine has, in a sense, been kind of bugging me of late with some of the things he's been, you know.
He does that from time to time.
Yeah. Not as bad as Sean Hannity. He's gone. I mean, I think he needs to retire. But no, Mark, I think his heart is right. I think he's just gone over. I think he's so upset with the things that he's seen that he's kind of myopic. He sees only one thing in one way, and there are other people. This is where, honestly, I think so many people have lost their way because we've lost Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh was kind of a beacon. He was the homing beacon.
Yeah.
He would keep us, you know, every time somebody went a little bit this way, he would bring us back. He went a little this way, he would bring us back. Never have I heard or seen a person that seemed to be so right. It's like he used to say, you know, 99 point whatever % he was right, and he was. He literally was. I will never ever think that I would ever be able to approach, because I know I'm wrong a lot of the times, okay, and I admit it. But he truly was, and he could keep these other guys straight. And everybody looked up to him, and they knew it. They would honor that. But anyway, back to the whole Convention of States situation. I didn't feel right about it from the beginning. But I think what really did it for me, pushed it over the top to tell me that this was not a good idea, was when I found out that George Soros backed it, that he supported it. That's all I needed to hear. When I know that when I hear George Soros, yes, is for it, then something's not right. And it's too easy for them to pack it. And here's the thing. If you weren't listening, please go back and listen, but I'll just mention this real quickly. It's too easy for them to change the Second Amendment to say that it only applies to the military, okay? That only the military is able to own certain firearms. Boom, and it's done, okay? That freedom of speech only applies to certain things and not other things. Boom, it's done. And that's the problem. And the way they want to pack the courts, the way they want to do other things, it's too easy for them to Mickey Mouse and mess around with things, and we're toast.
Yeah, now the safeguards in that are, first of all, they would have to get it passed to change the agenda to bring those up, because the mandate for Convention of States is based on specific things, term limits and balanced budget. Those are the two things that are out there that, you know, there may be others, but those are the two main things. So if they do get some language passed, then it goes back to the states to ratify. Now, last week was an important thing in that it was 40 years ago last week that ERA was finally killed. It was killed here in Oklahoma because the people here wouldn't pass it, wouldn't even put it on the ballot, couldn't make it in the legislature. I'm just saying that as an example of what the process will be. 3/4 of the states would have to ratify whatever passed in that. So there are safeguards. I just, you know, full disclosure here.
Right. But here's the thing. If right now, if conservatives are pushing it, okay, you got, which would be the hard part. Right. It seems like the hard part. But they convince conservatives that, oh, they're fighting us. And the conservatives find, yeah, we're for it. And so we push. Then all of a sudden, they go, boom. Okay, now, all of a sudden, the leftists say, boom, we're in. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, you get 45 of 50 states signing on. You only need 37, basically.
Well,
one of the 37 states.
Well, there's the signing on to send delegates to convene.
Right.
Okay, and then there's the whole, whatever the process is, taking it back to the states. That has to get 45. Actually passing the language, which remember our 1787 Constitution didn't pass either. And it was a last-ditch effort of the Bill of Rights that finally brought it over.
Okay. I apologize because we're getting into these, but it's good for you to listen to this because this is exactly what needs to be discussed on what's going to happen.
He's exposing me.
Well, no, yeah. This is what's going to happen. All the left has to do, especially with conservatives, so many with their heads up their butts and worried about other things, they've probably got people already waiting in the wings to step forward and send to these things.
Yeah, no, here's the other thing you simply can do. You got to have a quorum that meets the constitutional requirement. And if things are going south, any state legislature can recall their delegation and you lose a quorum and it's dead. You know, so there are safeguards if you see things going off the rails.
Right, but to me, once you get down the road to that certain point, I think they've got the thing rigged. I think they'll have it rigged. Because if they're able to steal a presidential election, right, I think they'll be able to rig something like that.
I can't say it won't happen.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think
better to never put yourself in that position than to put yourself in that position and hope the safeguards kick in.
Eddie, I agree with you on this. If they aren't honoring this one, what makes you think they're going to honor the next? And it's just another distraction from actually what we've got to do is return to the convictions and the principles that we're founded on.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
I think we'd go on a break on that one.
All right. We don't need to take a break anymore.
Oh, that's true.
Do you want to?
I don't care.
We don't need to. Let's just press on, brother. Press on. Hey, something that happened last week.
Yeah.
On Sunday, after we did the show, the next evening, something that none of us stayed up, or we didn't need to stay up, but none of us were watching. I happened to scoop it because I just happened to be on line when it came across the wire. Somebody actually just put it on about 5 minutes after it happened, and that was a slap heard around the world.
Oh, yes.
Who would think that a slap could make that much of an impact? I mean, it's still going. We're speaking of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock.
It was the best gift Will Smith could have given to the ratings for the Oscars.
Yeah. And then his next best gift was resigning from the Academy.
And that happened last night.
Yeah.
Late last night.
Now, having said all this, as I am known to do, took a contrarian position.
All right.
Which I kind of love to do that.
Yes.
Poke the bear. The bear. I bet it's a contrary position probably to you, okay? I didn't have a problem with him slapping Chris Rock.
No?
I did not have a problem with it at all. And here's why, okay? I believe he was defending his wife. Yes, he was laughing at first. He thought, it's a joke. Then he looks over, he sees his wife is hurt, offended. Okay, so he thinks, I better do something. I need to defend my wife. Facebook blew up, and a lot of people think that it wasn't a big deal, that he should have just sat there and taken it. But see, there's a difference. I think if Chris Rock had attacked Will Smith with a joke, right? No big deal. Chris would have laughed it off, shaken it off. But there's a difference in going after a guy versus going after a guy's wife.
Isn't she a public figure? Isn't she an
I don't care. She's his wife.
She's an actress, right?
She's an actress, but it doesn't matter. She's his wife. See, this is the problem. This is exactly what I'm talking about. All of a sudden, we're making distinctions. We're making excuses. Oh, she's fair game. Oh, Melania Trump, she's fair game. Call her a whore. Call her this. Call her that. Call her. What did Glenn Beck say about Melania? She was a lesbian prostitute or something. Like Trump's supposed to sit there and say, "Oh, it's okay, no big deal." No, because he's running for president. You can call somebody's wife a lesbian prostitute, and he's supposed to just take it. No, call Trump whatever you will, but you don't go after somebody's wife.
Right, I understand. You know, somebody's wife is not part of the discussion. For instance, isn't a candidate for office, all right? They're not an entity. It becomes a cheap shot. But wait a minute. Because he's married to her, he now has a license that he wouldn't have if he was, say, her next-door neighbor or a high school classmate or just some fan. I mean, who has a license?
A license for what?
To take out retribution on a bad joke.
Yes.
Who?
When you're a man and you one of your jobs is in the wedding vow. Isn't there? Okay. No, wait. Isn't part of your wedding vow to protect?
Right, but I'm saying, I'm trying to dig deeper from you.
Yeah,
what gives you the role here? What is it? How about a girlfriend? How about a next door neighbor?
Voice down, closer to the mic.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. See, I get worked up.
No, I don't mind you getting worked up. Closer to the mic because dynamic, mic dynamic.
All right.
Okay.
So who has a license? Is it only spouses?
No, not only spouses, but spouses. It's not about a right, but it's a responsibility. Okay. See, I'm old-fashioned. Yeah. Okay. If I'm okay, I'll use myself next. Mm-hmm. Okay. I was decked in. Okay, mm-hmm. but with the CMAs. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now it's Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Who are married, right?
Who are married, and somebody gets up and makes a snide, nasty remark about Faith Hill. First of all, I guarantee you, no one is going to make a snide remark about Faith Hill in front of Tim McGraw. First of all, they're not going to do it because they know Tim McGraw will go up and beat them to a pulp, okay? Yeah. Tim wouldn't care if they drag him out of the CMA. I don't think anybody's going to drag him out. But first of all, nobody's going to say anything negative about Faith Hill because they know Tim McGraw will beat them to a pulp, okay? So, rules are already established, okay? People, apparently, Chris Rock thought, it doesn't matter, it's Will Smith. Now, this brings me to my next point. Well, and then, had it been me, I'm not going to let anybody just sit there. I'm not just going to sit there and let somebody make a, nasty remark about my wife. Now, I may not have slapped him. I may have jumped up and called him all kinds of names or come up with some hidden thing that somebody might not have known about him. I might have gotten him back to get people, ooh, and then would have been on. That might have even been worse. The slap might have just ended it. That might have been a good thing.
The slap was more of a token message sent.
It was.
Because if he really wanted retribution, he would have pounded on him.
Well, yeah.
Kept pounded on him.
Well, yeah. It was more, yeah, you're right. Actually, it was a warning.
Yeah. It was a message sent.
Right. But now, here's
shot across the bow.
Yes, across the brow. But here's the other thing that kind of gets me. I think two things. One, it's because of who he is, and then people. This has always bugged me, and I think it kind of came up with Kevin Adams when he was here. What happens when you get a black person that shoots a policeman? Okay. Whether they're innocent or not, whether policeman shoots a black person, okay, criminal. Within 5 minutes on Facebook, Twitter, wherever, somebody already has their entire criminal record looked up. Somebody knows their whole history. Somebody's already been digging and knows from the time age 15, this person was this, he did this, he did this. In other words, he deserved it. So they deserve to be shot because when they were 16 years old, they had done this, when they did that. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, the sad thing is our police department, public relations people are usually the ones digging it.
Oh, so they're putting it out so that people...
they will frame the media discussion right away.
Yeah.
And what do we find out with Kevin Adams' client is they lied to the media on several points.
Yeah.
The police department did.
Yeah, yeah. But I've just learned that back, when I was with Pat on KFAQ, that any time there was a police shooting, you go on Facebook, and within 10, 15 minutes, this guy was a dirtbag, he was this, and I'm thinking, well, how do you here in, East Tulsa know everything about this person and this person and that person? And then it doesn't matter what the guy did. He could have been a drug dealer.
Exactly.
But it doesn't give the police person a right to shoot him. So in getting back to the Will Smith thing, the alleged, I don't know for a fact, but maybe if it's true, they had what they call an open marriage where they can sleep with other people or whatever, and they.
But he's still the protector, don't you know?
Well, it doesn't matter. To me, that's their business.
Yeah. That's
their business.
Exactly. Eddie, what you're getting at is what's called an ad hominem attack. When I taught high school debate class, that was the thing. Where instead of arguing the point, we are going to diminish the individual. Did I lose it? Okay.
I just turned me down.
I can't hear me anymore. Okay. There we go. Yeah, so anyway, that's what's called an ad hominem attack. Instead of attacking their argument, their point, you diminish them as a credible debater. And first time I tried it when I was in high school, teacher said, "I'm about to kick you out of the room." She cut off the debate. She said, "You do not attack your opponent. You make your argument on the case." And this is what goes on.
No, exactly. I agree with your teacher. That's exactly how it should be. But all of a sudden, I can't tell you, anytime we talk about, Will defending his wife, all I get, you should see, you may have seen it on my Facebook, all of the things that, well, she's this, they did this, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It has nothing to do with the fact that I don't care what she does, the guy chose to defend his wife. Instead of saying, the guy apparently loves and cares about his wife enough to where he felt it was worthy of getting up and defending her honor, regardless of what you think of the honor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I don't know that it was so much an attack. Now, I have to say, this story bothered me all week. Just the fact that it was a story. Because this narrative happens at every tavern, every weekend, in every city in the and in borough I can't use that word. I'm sorry. Every little podunk place where there's a get together, especially if there's a little bit of alcohol flowing. This happens all the time. But because it happened at the Oscars, Yeah,
it's funny because I mentioned that in the old days, somebody would have just said, "Hey, fellas, take it outside."
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
That's what it would have used to be. Take it outside.
Yeah.
It was just take it outside.
Yeah.
So, that shows how far we've come along. But there's so many different levels of thing here. I don't even want to get into the thing of the Oscars. Who cares? I still won't watch it. It's not going to help everybody.
I'm the same way.
I'm
celebrating the fact that they're getting low ratings. That's why I said I think they owe Will Smith a promotional fee for what he did.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, that's something that it just keeps on giving. He has apparently resigned from the guild, from the academy, and I didn't realize that several other people have also resigned. One should have, Roman Polanski. I don't know if he resigned or he was kicked out, but he should have been, and I don't know who. There were a couple of others.
Oh,
there.
Weinstein.
Oh yeah, Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, and then what's his name? Allen, Woody Allen.
Woody Allen.
I heard that's what I heard on today's report.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
those are 3 others who are no longer part, but I think they were actually kicked out.
Yeah, I think they're. But see, here's the shame of it.
And those 3 got kicked out back at a time when the left actually was protecting women. They're no longer protecting women.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
Isn't that ironic? Yeah, I guess certain black lives don't matter, do they? Here's the other thing that kind of gets me, what I was thinking about, too, is, it deals with that whole aspect of it, that this is the left, and somebody, stands up for a woman. Maybe that's the whole deal. Maybe he's not supposed to. Maybe she's supposed to be able to take up for herself or whatever. But I'm really kind of surprised and upset a little bit at the conservative take on this thing.
I don't know what the conservative take is.
Well, you take, what's his name? Sean Hannity, for example.
Okay.
Laura Ingraham. You go to Newsmax, they want Will hung by his genitals, I mean, it's like, I don't know. There's this thing, he should be hung. And here's another problem, and I hope you guys will understand where I'm coming from. I think you know that I'm not a race baiter, or that, you know well enough that
you just got black privilege.
I'm as hard on black people as anybody, maybe worse. But this just adds to the fuel of the racial thing, even though in Will's case, you've got all these black people that are coming after him. Wanda Sykes. People like that,
and they're not going to stop. Will should have taken a lesson from Donald Trump. Do not grovel, because that's when they will destroy you.
Yeah, but like I said, the thing is, the conservatives, the way they're coming after him, it's almost like, as I said, were it Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, I guarantee you Sean Hannity and these guys would have found some reason why Tim McGraw was being chivalrous. Mm-hmm. That's what bothers me sometimes by conservatives. They're inconsistent.
Yeah.
You can tell they don't like Will Smith. Mm-hmm. Okay, we get it. You don't like Will Smith, but be consistent. Mm-hmm. If you don't like Will Smith, then be consistent when you see it someone on the right that you do like, and they do something like this. You got to be that way too.
Yeah.
Right? And when somebody on the left does something, be consistent and defend them just as well.
Yeah. Now let's talk about what happened as soon as Will went back and sat down. Because that's when Chris Rock said, hey, I was making a joke about a character in a movie, not an individual sitting next to you. And I think there's an important distinction, because Will and his wife evidently, non-verbally, seem to conflate the two. This is a problem with actors and actresses in Hollywood, is they get so immersed in the character they play that they can't tell the difference.
Well, yeah, but he was speaking about the person sitting there with a bald head. Okay, so it's easy to conflate. Your bald-headed wife there could have played this character. She wasn't the character.
Oh, okay.
She hadn't played that.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you, that's what Chris Rock was arguing.
Right.
I wasn't attacking your wife, I was attacking a character.
Well, he could have been attacking a character because she's not a character. She's not that character.
Okay.
You understand? Demi Moore was the character.
Okay.
He was saying that she could be that character.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm sorry, I keep playing with this. I'm trying to get the right levels here on this to get the hollow. Anyway. But now Chris Rock did apologize. Okay, he says he didn't know that Will had that Jada had whatever the disease is. I can't remember what the name of it is. But he says he didn't know. He said, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Okay, so Chris had something to apologize for.
Right.
Even though is in his ignorance,
Right.
it still hurts.
It sure. I mean,
Yeah.
and you could tell the way he looked. He was trying to process this. What am I going to do? How do I do it? Da, 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 da. So now, to me, everybody, what should have happened, honestly, what should have happened, the media, everyone should have let it go.
All right.
And then, as soon as tempers calm down, tempers cool down, hurt calms down, I believe that Will would have called him, Jada would have called him and said, hey, dude, I'm sorry. I thought you were attacking my wife. I owe you a huge apology. And the two of them could have gotten together. They could have worked it out.
Right.
And they could have done a common press conference
and
or
I
something.
believe Will actually publicly announced that his apology to Chris Rock.
Right. But the way it's so blown up, the steely knives have come out, you know.
Yeah.
Castrate him.
It's
hang
almost
him,
like
kill him.
Kanye West and what's her name?
Yeah, his wife.
Yeah, I'm trying to think the Taylor Swift.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, or showing up, grabbing the microphone, taking the attention.
He'll never be forgiven.
That's the reason why the media goes for it, is because they remember the heydays where, you know, the Oscars was a 2-week-long event at minimum. And now it doesn't get the ratings, and so the editor's like, okay, is it really worth us spending this much, you know, because it kind of kills their own ratings.
Yeah.
In their own news programs and celebrity gossip programs.
Yeah, I don't think Kanye will ever be forgiven for that.
By some people, no.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my kids are huge Kanye fans. And to some degree, I am. But in a different way. I consider Kanye, in many ways, a hero, knowing his mental health history and the fact that he's not letting himself be a victim of it.
Yeah.
That's the amazing thing for me with Kanye. But again, Kanye, you know, he has his manic times.
Yeah. No, yeah. And I think, you know, I've told you, and we've talked about it, I actually met him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a few weeks ago. I mean, a couple of months ago.
Yeah, and my daughter is friends with him. She knows him. So, he was a very nice guy, quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, kind of reminds me of a person I really would like to have gotten to meet. It was Prince.
Yeah.
But I think they're very misunderstood people.
Yeah.
And they've got... The thing about these people is people forget that they are just people.
Yeah.
And that's the thing we forget. They're people. They're just like you and me. Do you remember... And we'll move along with this. I'm going to use this as a transition.
Segue.
There you go. Segue. Excuse me. But back during the Cold War, towards the end, about 1988, 89. In fact, this song could have been the end of the Cold War. It could have ended. It was Sting. Sting came out with a song, Russians Love Their Children Too. Do you remember that song? It was a pretty powerful song.
Yes.
And it actually made me think. I was living in Germany at the time, and, you know, East Germany, and, you know, I went to Berlin several times, Checkpoint Charlie, and you could look over and see, you know, East Germany, and it was a mess. But right now, we're being worked into this frenzy of Russians or evil. Putin is this monster, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And if we could actually see the people of Russia, they go shopping every day. They send their kids to school. In some ways, I think the Russian morality, the Russian daily life is nicer, more godly in some sense.
You're onto something, Eddie. Yeah.
Than ours is.
Yes. They're not buying into the woke crap. They're not buying into the beta male crap, the metrosexual crap,
the homosexual crap.
I mean, yeah, you're right.
Any of the sexual crap.
Right.
I know there's still, there's porn, and I mean, that's all over the world. Okay, that's just a phenomenon.
And the vodka's flowing, and I mean, there's all the world has.
They have their own
vices.
issues. Yeah, they have their issues.
Yeah.
But in publicly, they're like you said. Yeah, exactly. They have not allowed their whole their society.
Yeah, their culture.
Their culture. They have not allowed their culture to be permeated and taken over by not just the woke. Woke is too easy. It's just this hedonistic. I think hedonistic is the term. Culture, and in some sense, it's like Putin and the party people have tried to rein in this drift to the. In fact, that's probably one of the reasons that they're fighting it. So they're trying to keep Russia from drifting to where everything else in the West is.
Yeah,
which is a hedonistic. I want to say godless, but they're already godless communists. What would you say? I don't know what you would call it. It's godless, but the government is the god. So whatever. Authorityless. That's what we have in America right now. There is no authority. In fact, I wrote this paper. Did I talk about this before? One of these days, I think I'm going to read it. Maybe I'll read it.
Tell me, and I'll tell you.
It's this essay I wrote on authority. And it says, once you remove God, then every authority below God is no longer authority. Did I?
I don't recall it.
What made me write
Sounds
this?
good.
Yeah, well, what made me think of this, and it's funny how we stumble into these things. We don't plan these.
No.
We don't ever play. In fact, last night I was thinking, Dave and I should have a pre-show meeting. We should script out our show. We never do. We show up at 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I'm busy doing stuff. You're setting up, and anyway, this thing. This is years ago. I'm at Walmart or somewhere, and this girl, a lady. It wasn't a lady. It was probably a 26-year-old woman. She's a woman, 26, 27. She's wearing a T-shirt and says, "You're not the boss of me." And you've heard little kids. Oh yeah, I remember little kids. You're not the boss of me. But this is a grown woman.
The anthem of every 2-year-old. You're not the boss of me.
Yeah, but this was a 26-year-old, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is America. Yeah. This is what people, this is what her generation, that whatever 26 year, XYZ generation, whatever she was. This is true. The rebellious, godless, authorityless generation had come to.
Yeah, but as G.K. Chesterton, theologian, said,
oh, there you go.
If you ignore, I actually got this from Dr. Everett Piper, if you ignore the big laws, you end up being governed by a lot of little laws.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the whole gist of my whole essay, that once you get rid of the ultimate authority, then every other authority is diminished or means nothing.
Well, you have to fill the void, and that's how come we got, a statutory code that nobody knows, but everybody's responsible for following.
Well, yeah, and it's like gun laws. Like what they do, they keep making more laws, but with less punishment.
Yeah.
So, for example, they keep coming up with new gun laws, but they don't enforce them.
Yes. Yeah. And what did Wayne LaPierre say, almost 30 years ago? He said, I am convinced that the Clinton administration is comfortable with a certain amount of gun violence because it furthers their agenda. And he told that to Tim Russert. The left went nuts. But we're like, that? He's probably right.
I agree.
Now, I want to say something. I was at the doctor this week, and I noticed when I went in, its sign said, masks required in the clinic, front door. I go in, the receptionists are there, not a mask to be seen. But the sign's still on the door. So I'm driving home, and I go past one of Tulsa's Metro buses. It's run by the city.
Right.
It says, masks required, and everybody at the bus stop, not a one of them's wearing a mask. We still have a lot of it. So I talked to the receptionist when I'm on my way out, you know, and I said, no, I'm seeing that sign on the door. She said, oh, yeah, we don't bother. I said, yeah, it would probably be good then to take the sign down. Oh, I don't have authority to do that. I said, yeah, but it's undermining your authority, because then when you do have a rule you need to enforce, we don't know which rules are good, are enforced, and which ones aren't. And it diminishes your authority all around. And that's my whole point. In fact, I said this to the legislator, some incoming freshmen a few years ago. I was at the Capitol. I said, I'm ready to champion the first lawmaker who will do nothing but just get rid of unenforced, unenforceable, unconstitutional statutes that are still on the books. Because, Andy, what did we learn in high school civics class? Ignorance is no excuse, right? We're supposed to know the whole statutory code. I was talking to a lawyer yesterday, a client of mine. He said, no lawyer knows the entire statutory code.
No.
But yet, they can lock us up.
The police don't know the statutory
yes.
code. No, the police don't.
And what do we say? You ignore the big laws, you're going to be controlled by a lot of little laws.
Right.
So many that it's impossible to know which ones are legit.
Right. No, and that's what I'm saying, and that's what this whole essay was about. Essentially, that once you take God out of the supreme authority, and because what's the Psalm say, or proverb? Fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
If we have no fear of God, then why would you fear anything else?
Yeah.
Right. Because if once you die, it's over. Mm-hmm. It's over. That's going to happen one day anyway, so, okay, I check out a little early. It's not going to matter. I won't grow old, whatever. So there are no consequences. Mm-hmm. Thomas Sowell wrote a book many years ago. It's called, all of a sudden
it's a good one.
It's a great one. No, it's a tough book. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it.
So many good books.
Yeah, no. I'm sorry that I mentioned. Anyway, let me tell you about the book. But essentially, in it, he says there are two groups of people. There are those who believe in ultimate punishment, that there will be a punishment one day, and that for the things you do, there are consequences. And then there's the other group that does not believe that there will be any consequences for your actions. And so conservatives tend to believe there will be consequences, therefore we're ruled by that fear of consequences.
Yes.
And then conflict of visions. I knew it would come back.
It's
called A Conflict of Visions. If you get a chance, it's one of these books where I had to read one page about 10 times, and then about half of it stuck with me. It's just difficult, but it's worth it to try to work your way through it to understand. But essentially, what I got out of it, it just had so much rich stuff in it. I mean, the guy is just a brilliant thinker, so much that it's unbelievable.
30 years ago, G. Gordon Liddy was on the radio. He said, if I could pick the next president, it would be Thomas Sowell. 30 years ago. Wow. That's how brilliant of a man. He's a professor at Stanford, right?
Not a professor, but he's what do you call the emeritus? And
very connected to Stanford. Educator.
And he's actually he just writes. He just retired actually, and he just kind of does his writing and sits there and consults and stuff like that. But again, he was saying that your people with the one vision, which is called the constrained vision. We have the constrained vision because we believe there is an ultimate punishment for wrong, and the unconstrained vision is the one that believes there is no punishment. Another thing he says, this is very interesting, and I'll never forget. He says you can take 100 people and you put them in a room, and then you throw something out there, an issue. We'll start with sports. not necessarily a team, but the rules for a sport. And then you ask them, what do you think about this and this? And then you divide them on what they think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take it, and this group thinks this way, this one this way. Then you mix them back up, and then you ask them about law. And you ask them what they think about it, and you divide them again according to that, and you mix them back, and you ask them about politics, you ask them about this, about religion. He says 9 out of 10 times the room will split exactly the same way on every issue. He said it's because it is our worldview. It's our vision of life in the world.
Yes.
And this is how we are made and somehow how we are formed. And it's amazing. This is what the conflict of visions is, that you have that constrained vision or the unconstrained vision. And this is where you have the conservative and the liberal vision, that you'll have the people with that constrained and unconstrained, and it dictates what we believe and don't believe. So it's very interesting, and this explains kind of how and where we are today in America and why it's so unruly and why it's important that when your children are young that they understand punishment. There is good in punishment, and that punishment has an end to it. There's a reason for the punishment. With the punishment is also forgiveness, there's mercy, there's all kinds of aspects to punishment. It's not just abuse, punishment for the sake of punishment because it makes me feel good. No, punishment is about teaching consequences and grace and forgiveness. There's all those aspects to teaching beyond that particular thing. When I was with Youth with a Mission, I don't know if I shared this, the first Youth with a Mission International headquarters were in Lausanne, Switzerland. And they had this hotel there, and it was right by a road. It was like 40 feet from a highway. And so the children, to let them go outside and play, if they'd wander out too far, they could get hit by a car.
Yeah.
So what they did, they painted a big yellow stripe on the side 10 feet away that the kids weren't allowed to go beyond to keep them out of danger. Now, a 3-year-old, you can't tell them don't go beyond that yellow line because you'll die. Because a 3-year-old, 4-year-old doesn't understand what death is. It doesn't mean what it means to us. Or you go out there, you'll die. But they understand what this stick means.
Yes.
If you go past that yellow line, we're going to use the stick on your butt. And so that's what teaching the kid to fear the stick, not getting hit by a car.
Yep.
So, and then as they got older, then of course they understood what pain and then eventually what death was. But the consequence was the immediate consequence of a stick on their butt. And so the kids would not go beyond that yellow line. And all of these things come into play. That's why discipline, again, punishment, as we're talking about, are very important to instill in your children and into adults. And so, as I was saying, this young lady that we were talking about who had this T-shirt that said,
"You're not the boss of me."
You're not the boss of me. Yeah. I'll never forget that. But authority is very, very, very important to us all.
I want to say something. You talked about, Thomas Sowell's analogy of how people are going to divide based on their worldview. But many issues, you can change people's position by how you frame that issue. For instance, we've always seen urban blacks as more aligned with the left, right? Until you started mandating vaccines for COVID. And so the most resistant have been the urban black community. They don't trust them. So it's all in how you package it. And we're seeing this on a number of things where all of a sudden people are lining up differently. So
Well,
there's still a place to influence depending on how you present the issue.
Yeah, but you know why the hesitance from the vaccine?
Tuskegee. I mean, there's a few other things.
Yeah, that's the main one. The Tuskegee. Yeah, there's a lack of trust that you're going to. Yeah, the syphilis experiments and different things like that. They just don't trust.
You remember, it was just 2 years ago, not even, a year and a half ago, Camilla, and...
Kamala?
Yeah, Kamala.
Or camel hair, as I call it.
And Brandon were hesitant of the vaccine. And what did the vice president now? I mean, she said, not if Trump says. I'm not going to take it if Trump says it's okay. It's all in, how it's seen. Everything was a narrative of the left of whatever Trump's for, we got to be again. We're again it because Trump suggested it.
Yeah.
It's Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah, see, that is the hypocrisy. That's the hypocrisy right there that, I'm not taking it because Trump said we're supposed to take it. Yeah. But now that we're in charge, it's all good. Everybody has got to or should take it. Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff. And I think Kamala, I don't think black people ever really did like her. I mean, I think that was shown even before the election. Right. And Biden made a big mistake in selecting her because they never really liked her. So, and this word salad stuff she's been doing all along has finally come back to. Boy,
I'm noticing it now, and obviously, I've watched her before. She can be very cutting. She can be very direct, especially when she was on the Senate Judiciary Committee, and Brett Kavanaugh was she didn't have any problem communicating her redress of him.
No.
I think something's going on with her now it's worse than I've ever seen.
Well, no, I don't think she's changed. I think she's the same as she's always been. She's just thinks she has a little power. Yeah. And there's a thing with certain people and women in particular, more so than men. You do have some men, but there's a certain class of person, and I've seen it more in women. It's the same with AOC. You see it with the squad in particular. You give them a little power, and all of a sudden they abuse it. They think more highly of themselves than they should, and they start really becoming authoritarian.
Yes, and they become not likable.
Exactly.
And she's not likable. Hillary's not likable. Now, are there men that run into that? Yes. But I think it really shows with women. And I think probably part of what we're seeing in the word salad, I think Camilla's trying to be someone other than who she's been. She's trying to come across as likable. And the things where she's babbling on, she's just trying to evoke uniting, things we all agree on. And she can't. She can't. That's how who she is.
Yeah. I just don't think she's very likable. I mean,
no, she's not.
Yeah, she's doing a terrible job.
Yeah.
Poor lady. Yeah, I don't know. I feel bad for her in many ways.
So here's something. If the Republicans take over both the House and Senate, let's say it happens by a pretty good amount, and now all of a sudden you've got a real chance of Joe Biden being removed by Article 25, 25th Amendment, where, obvious dementia, right? And that would be a legitimate thing. And then you got word salad Camilla,
Word salad Annie?
Yeah.
The poke salad
yeah,
Annie.
I know.
Word salad.
Being the next one in line, and,
Yeah, but then the next one is Pelosi.
But here's where this comes in.
Okay.
There's people who would like to see the House put Donald Trump in as Speaker, because you remove the other two, and you could get Trump not in 2025, but in 2023.
Oh, okay. Now I see what you're saying. Oh, yeah, because Pelosi, they have to nominate a new Speaker.
if the Democrats take over, that's going to happen.
Now I got you. Yeah. Okay.
You know, because this all of a sudden, Speaker of the House becomes a real thing, more so than we've ever seen.
Well, that would be something else. That would be interesting. Hey, listen, we've got a couple of minutes left here. This has been fun. This has been really good. I hope you all at home like this. Mm-hmm. Hey, let's finish up. We've got to mention Ukraine.
Yes.
Okay. It wouldn't be a current event show if we didn't mention Ukraine. I'm sure as soon as we leave here today, something new will pop up. We always seem to Saturday morning. But you think things are winding down?
Things are quiet. In fact, somebody said yesterday said these last 36 hours have been the calmest. Now, the Ukrainians now have control over Chernobyl. They lost it.
Well, Russians gave it back.
The Russians,
they just said
it was a strategic withdrawal, right? And now the Ukrainian flag this morning is flying over there. Also, some suburbs of Kyiv. And the whole question is, I think the Russians are focusing more now on Odessa and along the Black Sea.
See, here's the thing. I don't think the Russians ever wanted anything except that corridor.
Yeah.
Remember, I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I think all he ever wanted was that Baltic and not the Baltic. I'm sorry, the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea.
Black Sea.
Right, and that's all he ever wanted. And so I think all the stuff up north was more or less to take the attention and have them focus their troops and all of everything up there while he was able to work on the south.
And that's why today's headline is saying now all of a sudden it becomes a question if you're Belarus and now all of a sudden you're left holding the bag. And what's the retribution on Belarus?
Oh, there shouldn't be any.
They attacked Ukraine as well.
Yeah, but what's the retribution? Why?
There's a lot of dead people. You know?
Yeah, I know, but if it's over, it's over.
We'll see. I mean, I'm not a player in this.
No, and Belarus, in fact, a lot of the Ukrainian people went to Belarus because it was a shelter. I mean, at least Belarus wasn't killing them. I mean, Belarus, if you went into Belarus, they gave you shelter. So Belarus wasn't actually physically attacking. They were just kind of a bulwark for Russia.
Yeah.
So they weren't sending their troops in. They were just kind of, we're with Russia, but we're not going to, we're not really in this.
Okay. Evidently, it's the internal politics, because Belarus was actually very divided on this, and it's very narrow. So now all of a sudden, if it doesn't go well politically, the administration is probably going to get thrown out for the narrative.
But anyway, I from the beginning, in the beginning, they said all Putin really wants, all he really wanted and wants, and it's looking like that is what he really wanted, was that Donetsk area, that whole
Eastern Ukraine. Yeah.
And if he gets that, he'll pull everything back, boom, and we're done.
And from what I understand, since 2014, much of that area has been rather autonomous.
Right. And the Russian-speaking people are over there and everything, and I think they'll be happy with that.
Yeah. Now, be careful with the term Russian-speaking people, because most Ukraine is trilingual. They speak Russian.
Right. But they have a lot of native people that identify as Russian, and that's where they're...
Yeah, that's probably a better way to define it.
Right. So
ethnic Russian.
Right. But anyway, I think we've been fed a line of bull on a lot of it.
Do you think?
I really do. And I think a lot of the attack has been more, look over here, while this is all we really want. And now they're saying, oh, look, it's a great victory for the... Because, listen, honestly, Russia has big bombers.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of big... If he really wanted to, and he could have killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
All we've been hearing, and this is where the news has made me so angry. Mm-hmm. Oh, the Ukrainians are fighting such a valiant fight. Oh, they're doing this. They killed so many Russians. They killed this. They've done this. They've done this. And the Russians aren't... If Russia wanted to, all they have to do is high-altitude bombers, boom, 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 just wipe out the cities.
Yeah.
And they haven't done it.
Yeah.
They haven't done it. They withdraw. They'll go in. They'll attack. They back up. They're sitting for 40. That 40-mile caravan and thing. I think that was to intimidate and make everybody think they're here. Now they did do when Biden went to Poland. What did they do? They attacked it. What is it? About 10 miles away. Mm-hmm. They just launched boom, 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 boom along there just to send a signal to Biden. Don't you think about sending anybody over here? Stuff like that. But our media is as responsible for killing people in Ukraine, to me, as anybody else.
And how is that?
Well, because they kept playing it up and trying to insult Putin and stuff about the Russians are losing and this and Ukraine is so valiant and Zelensky is the man of the year and he's this great guy and he's wonderful and blah 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 blah. And so and Putin this and that and then the article. Did you see the thing? Remember he had the Make Russia Great Again rally.
Oh yes.
And they're talking about that jacket he wore.
Yeah.
$14,000 jacket. He was wearing Italian jacket.
It was?
Yeah, it was Italian down coat, and this guy said, come on, people.
Okay, so let me dig a little deeper on this. I'll quote the disgraced former governor of Oklahoma, David Walters, when he admitted a huge, humiliating political defeat. He said, I'm going to declare victory and get out of Vietnam. So what I want to say is Biden, through this war, this distraction, him basically declaring victory and getting out of COVID? Because that's what's fallen apart that we aren't talking about, is the whole narrative of exploiting COVID to take authority and liberties away from people. And it fell apart. Yeah. Because as soon as the medical fell apart, as soon as we found out the vaccine neither protects you from getting sick, neither protects you from spreading the sickness, now all of a sudden, all of their claims, now I understand it does protect you from, statistically, from getting a more fatal. But from what I'm hearing this morning on Newsmax, they said, really, the actual COVID death rate wasn't any more than a serious flu. Right.
And see, the worst thing that can happen to Biden and the Democrats right now is for Russia to say it's over. We win.
Wow.
Well, yeah, because then what happens? We start focusing on Hunter.
That's true.
We start focusing because it's starting to warm up. Everybody's admitting now that laptop, the laptop from hell, right? So that's happening. We're finding out Fauci's been lying. You saw the tape this week where Fauci several years ago was saying if somebody had the flu, then
that's the best vaccine you can get is to get the illness. You can't get better.
Right. So all this stuff is starting to fall apart, and you can tell with the attitude towards the laptop from hell that the networks are starting to turn on. Media's starting to turn on Biden.
Yeah.
They're starting to.
Yeah.
Enough.
No.
We can't cover anymore because they're starting to lose. They're starting to lose their audience. Yeah. They're starting to lose their ratings. They're going to start losing money. People are going to. They can read the leaves.
Yeah, I think we're up against, because you remember what happened. Was it in the House this week? Somebody asked. FBI said, "Where is the laptop?"
Yeah. We don't know.
I don't, and repeated that. Doesn't know. I really believe, much like they destroyed Hillary's cell phones and devices after the email scandal, I believe that the FBI destroyed it.
Yeah.
And then they find out, oh my God, the shopkeeper made himself a copy and gave it to Trump's people. Now we are screwed.
Right. Oh, there are copies. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I guarantee you there's copies out there.
And sadly, the computer shop owner had to file bankruptcy. But I hope he's got a good book deal on this, because this guy's a hero.
Oh no, he's fine.
Yeah, but so you hear this defund the police thing came after the George Floyd deal. Well, I'll go on the record and say I believe we need to defund the FBI. let me say this. I believe we need to shut it down, build a new institution to take over the legitimate roles the FBI plays, because that's the only way you get rid of the civil servants who would otherwise have protection and continue. You just shut down the department, create another one, and then you get to pick who you bring in. You get to start over. And I believe we have to do that with the FBI.
Yeah.
It's that bad. The whole Justice Department.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is. Yeah. You have to. They have to be able to serve at the pleasure of the president. And hey, I'm sorry. It's only fair if the because it was full of snakes, and for Trump not to be able to fire the people that were in there is just ridiculous. Now, unless he was able to fire them, and he just didn't. And the CIA and the NSA, I mean, that's probably the worst.
Yep. And
see, the reason a lot of these people are still there is because they have blackmail material on all of these people. And so it's bad. It's bad.
Hey, when we finish the show, I'm going to add on to the tape a great release of a new song came out this week.
Okay.
The members of Leonard Skinner and 38 Special, the Van Zandt brothers.
I was listening to 38 Special on the way here today.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, have you heard that new station, the Oasis?
No.
It used to be KXOJ, the original 100.9.
Yeah.
If you're in Tulsa, 100.9 has a new, and it's all soft oldies from the 60s and 70s and 80s. Oh.
Good tunes.
Oh, yeah, it's all I listen to.
But anyway, they dedicated a new song to Ron DeSantis' campaign. It's called Sweet Florida.
Really?
And it is good. It is a jamming song.
Well, I'll be looking forward to hearing it.
So anyway, you'll catch the video at the end of the show on our podcast. So,
all right. There was one more thing I wanted to talk about, but I don't remember what it was.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all right. Oh, no. I lost it. I lost it way before you said that.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. I really enjoyed this. We covered a lot of stuff today.
Yeah.
And I even did my little monologue.
Yeah.
So it's going to be about, what, a 2-hour show?
Yeah.
Wow. No, about
No, I think we're doing
hour.
Did you reset it? We're an hour and a half.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Including that, it'd be about an hour and a half. Okay.
All right.
Hey, oh, yeah, that's what it is. I have invited, this came up, I was meeting with some friends, and we talked about just an informal get-together. It's called, and I mentioned to you, CBD. CBD.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about cannabis oil or anything like that. It's called Coffee, Beer, and Discussion. And we're going to plan it for a place in Tulsa called the Ziggy's Sausage Factory. It's an Austrian, Bavarian
nice.
place here in town. They sell a lot of German and Austrian. It's a deli, but it has a restaurant, so you can get schnitzel and all your German. Have you ever eaten at Ziggy's? You've never eaten at Ziggy's? You've never eaten at Ziggy's?
I tell you, and this show is my age. Do you remember Helmut's Alpine Kitchen?
Yeah. From way back.
Yes.
Yeah, and you've got Margit's is still at the farm. But anyway, Ziggy's, and they have a room, and we're going to... So anyway, I just threw this out on Facebook, and in one day I had 15 to 20 people already. I'm in. People would come.
Yeah.
And we're just going to... It's going to just be really informal, and we're just going to discuss political issues and so forth, and maybe we can start a movement. It's going to be the old, do you remember the group that C.S. Lewis and those guys had in England? Tolkien, J.R.R.
Oh, Lewis Carroll, I think.
Not J.R.R. Tolkien, what's his name? Chesterton. G.K.K. Chesterton. Why do you guys always have three?
Was T.S. Eliot in there? Or T.S. Eliot in there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that group of people in C.S. Lewis, they all used to get together.
Yeah.
Heavy thinkers, and they would debate. They were a group of debaters, and they were debating the atheists. It was the Christians debating the atheists, and there's a book out called God in the Dock, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll read this because it's got all these C.S. Lewis debates. I got to 2 pages, and I couldn't. It was like, I mean, if you ever get a chance, just look it up. I promise you, your eyes will. it was some heavy stuff. Too heavy for me. So.
Well, and I know, you didn't you? No, you were with a different organization. Josh McDowell was with Campus Crusade,
right?
And that, but maybe we get some of these writers to come on by while they're coming through town to some of these. That'd be fun.
Yeah, but anyway, no, this is just going to be. We're going to eat some good German
Wurst.
food, Wurst, good Knackwurst, Schnitzel,
yes,
Kartoffelsalat, and so it'll be fun.
All right,
keep it informal.
You're going to give us a date coming up soon for it, or?
Yeah, and they'll be on Facebook. But anyway, freshblackcoffee@gmail.com if you're interested, and hopefully there's going to be room enough for everybody. Because if we have 15 people respond with husbands and wives, we'd probably have to sell tickets or something. I don't know, or get a bigger room.
Yeah.
But we may have to get the whole restaurant. So no, but it should be fun. I think this is what's needed. We need to have more informal. We have all these political gatherings where you have speakers and no speakers. We're just going to sit there, throw a subject out, and we just. Have different people. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's what always used to get me about these missions groups and different things, organizations and things we would have where we would just, it's always so scripted and formal. And after a while, you just, the greater things happened more informally and people just were birthed through that. Yep. And I think we could start a whole movement and send people out after they get all excited and they call their friends and they call their friends, and maybe we could get something.
Some of us in South Tulsa have an election. Actually, several people do, but South Tulsa, a chance to get a conservative on the Tulsa Public School Board is this Tuesday. Tim Harris, GA.
Yeah,
ORU grad, law school. Anyway, so that's coming up on Tuesday. We'll see what happens.
Well, I better go vote then.
Yeah, if you're in that
I live in
district.
South Tulsa.
Well, check to see where it is. I thought you were more over in Union School District.
I am in the Union.
Yeah, so this would be Tulsa Public Schools.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Kind of if the kids in your neighborhood go to Memorial or Edison, then you're probably in that district.
So it's not because I'm black. Trying to keep me out.
So
deny I'm being disenfranchised again.
And then plugging up, we're still planning in 2 weeks. The Tulsa World political reporter Randy Cravel will be joining.
Now that will be fun.
That will be fun.
We'll get in here and grill Randy.
Yeah.
Randy, no, it'll be fun.
Good guy.
No, it'll be fun. Guy. It'll be fun.
He's from rural Oklahoma, Weatherford. I spent a summer out there.
He's got Native American in him too.
Yeah. Well, I'm Native American too. I was born in America. It makes me Native American.
Are you more Native American than the senator from up in the north?
Again, even a Mexican born in Tijuana is Native American.
Well, yeah.
We have to be careful how the language gets changed. It's like you and the Colts. It's the politics when they change the language.
I probably have more Native American in me than she does.
There we go. Even Ben Shapiro, the Orthodox Jew, said he's more Native American.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right, man.
All right, everyone. Hey, thank you so much. We have more fun than we probably should.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll see you when we see you.
You betcha. So we were trying to get
Come on into our hideout here.
All right.
Hey, I got something for you, Governor. This is the lyrics to this song.
Oh, good.
And so I signed it to you. And this is how they chart out everything to really actually go through it and play it.
Oh, good.
So
That's
very
exciting.
Cool. It's a little different than what you've heard on the iPhone. So
Good.
now I was asking them, do you like listening to it loud?
Yeah, however you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just push play?
I believe so, sir.
Okay. All right, here we go. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
It's a little different.
The press don't like him, but it sure does get my business. He stands up for what he believes. So don't come down here trying to change things. We're doing all right in the Sunshine State. Stay out of our business, leave our gov alone. Down in sweet Florida, our governor is red, white, and blue. Oh, down in sweet Florida, he's shooting us straight, telling us the truth. Yeah, that's right. You can take it to the bank. He don't care what Brandon thinks at the White House. Yeah, he's fighting for the right to keep our state free. Well, he's taking on the swamp and he's calling out Dr. Fauci. He's the only one fighting for you and me. You and me. Yeah, we're free. Yeah, we're free. Down in sweet Florida, our governor, he's red, white, and blue. Oh, down in sweet Florida, he's shooting us straight, telling us the truth. Well, we ain't been locked down, we still have our freedom. We can still see our friends and family. Oh, our kids are in school and we can go to church on Sunday. And it's all because DeSantis knows how to lead. Down in sweet Florida, our governor, he's red, white, and blue. Yeah, down in sweet Florida, he's shooting us straight, telling us the truth. Come on now. Down in sweet, sweet, sweet Florida, our governor, he's red, white, and blue. Oh, down in sweet Florida, he's shooting us straight, telling us the truth. Yeah! Oh, down in sweet Florida, where he's kicking it up, standing up and down in Florida. He's a military man with the courage to withstand him all. Yeah, we're free down in Florida. There ain't no sea or peace, Lord. In Florida, our governor, he's red, white, and
Oh man, people are gonna love that. That's really good.